Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever had that feeling, deep down, that you're kind of trapped? Or that the happiness you're chasing always seems to be just around the corner, but never quite here? Well, you're definitely not alone. Today we're going to explore a really profound lecture from the Islamic philosopher Allameh Hasan Zadeh Amoli that gets to the heart of freeing our soul and finding a happiness that actually lasts.
So let's start with the big one, the question that really drives so much of what we do in life. According to Allameh Amoli, just asking yourself this question is the real beginning of the journey toward finding freedom.
And right off the bat, he kind of challenges the answer most of us have been taught. He's suggesting that maybe we're all looking for fulfillment in the wrong places, mistaking these temporary wins for real, genuine joy.
So, for our first section, let's dive into exactly that. Why the kind of happiness we often chase is a bit like a mirage in the desert. It looks so real, but it never really quenches our thirst.
Okay, what's so interesting here is this contrast. Allameh Amoli calls things like worldly status and power imaginary presidencies. Just think about that for a second. These roles and titles feel so important, but they're not real in an eternal sense. They're temporary illusions. The real goals, he says, are the ones you build inside. That inner peace, that closeness to the divine, and a kind of knowledge that becomes a part of who you are.
And here's the crucial point. He calls these things urgent pleasures. They scream for our attention right now, but their value is totally limited to this life. When our time here is up, the only thing we actually take with us is a reality of what we built inside our soul. And that idea leads us to this beautiful, central concept in his philosophy, this hidden dimension of reality that exists inside of everything, and most importantly, inside of us.
He uses this word, malakūt. And listen, this isn't just some poetic metaphor for our inner feelings. In this teaching, the malakūt is the actual, true, eternal reality of who we are. The physical world, that's just the outer shell. The malakūt is the real you, the part that lasts forever.
And this is where it gets super practical. Think about it. Every single thing you do, every word you say, every choice you make, it's like you're using a paintbrush on the canvas of your eternal spiritual self. In that unseen kingdom of the malakūt, nothing is small or insignificant. We are literally, in every single moment, the architects of our own soul.
I just love this imagery because it captures our potential so perfectly. We're not meant to be stuck here in the world of dust, attached to things that fade away. The true nature of our soul is to fly, to soar. So the goal then is to protect this inner reality, to keep it pure, so we can reach a state of being truly with God. Okay, so how do we actually do that? How does that bird leave the world of dust and fly to that spiritual garden? Well, Allameh Amoli gives us a really clear path, and it depends on two things that absolutely have to work together. He says the soul needs two wings to be able to ascend. It's such a simple and powerful image, right? A bird can't fly with just one wing, and in the same way our spirit can't rise with just knowledge or just action. It needs both, working together in harmony.
The first wing is knowledge. But we're not talking about just memorizing facts from a book or being able to win a debate. This is a deep, transformative kind of knowing, an understanding of God, of why your soul is even here, and of how reality works that completely changes the way you see everything.
And the second wing is action. This is where all that knowledge becomes real. It's about the practices that clean up our heart and our body, things like prayer and worship, and really trying to live our lives in sync with divine guidance. It's about taming those temporary desires so that our eternal soul can finally be free to fly.
And this quote just ties the two wings together perfectly. The book here represents divine truth, that deep knowledge we were talking about. And the message is clear. To really understand it, to really receive that light, the soul has to be made pure first, and that happens through action. A pure heart is what allows for a clear vision.
All right, let's bring this all together in our final section and see where this whole journey of knowledge and action is supposed to lead. What's the ultimate destination?
Allameh Amoli sees our whole life here as a journey of returning home. He describes the body and all its worldly cravings as a kind of temporary prison, a place of exile that our soul is constantly longing to be free from.
And where is it returning to? It's not a place you can find on a map. It's a state of being. The whole goal is to get to a point where your soul can directly see and experience the pure, unfiltered reality and beauty of its divine source. This journey, it happens in stages.
Through that steady practice of gaining knowledge and taking action, the soul starts to wake up. It moves from being forgetful to feeling a conscious connection with the divine. You start to really feel that link to where you came from. And as you nurture that connection, something amazing happens. That feeling of being separate from God, separate from creation, it just starts to melt away. This is the stage of union, where the soul begins to realize its deep, profound oneness with the source of everything. And finally, the journey finds its peak in a state of abiding presence. It's described as resting in a seat of truth, near a sovereign, perfect in ability. Just imagine that. It's a state of absolute peace, total reality, and a fulfillment that lasts forever.
So what's the big takeaway? It's this: our potential is infinite. Our physical bodies have limits, of course, but the soul, it has no ceiling. Its ability to grow, to know more, and to get closer to the divine is absolutely limitless. It is a journey that truly never has to end.
And so that leaves us with a really deep question to think about for our own lives. In all the things we chase every day, in our search for happiness, what destination are we actually choosing for our soul? Are we building a temporary little shack here in the world of dust, or are we preparing our wings to fly home?